Hi everyone, how's everyone doing here today? Nice sunny weather out. Today I wanted to talk about qualifications and bad candidates, and it's something I brought up before. I wanted to divulge more into it because here's the thing. Eventually it boils down to the voters to make the right choices, when it comes to voting for candidates, but it's also the job of Congress to provide good candidates to choose from. Let me give you an idea. These are just a job posting for a chief of staff or a commissioner in a city. Could be any city. Under direction of the commissioner, supervise, plan, implement, coordinate, and evaluate programs within the division. Coordinate the work of citywide operations, analysis, maintenance contracts, management, development, and implementation of programs, policies, procedures for standardization. Oversee the preparation of complex reports such as staffing analysis, indicators, and others. Utilize data to inform process improvements, resource allocation, initiatives. Coordinate day-to-day operations of the office, oversee the commissioner's schedule, prepare briefings, compile data, and manage reporting. It's a pretty important position, and you have to meet those qualifications in order to get the job. Now, could I submit my resume? Sure. Would they accept it? No, they'd probably look at it and get rid of it. If by some miracle they were trying to be generous and give me a chance to interview, I would imagine a majority of the questions I wouldn't be able to answer and, in the end, not get the job, and rightfully so. Just to give you a better example, so you see where I'm going with this. FBI eligibility. Be a U.S. citizen, public record, must be in good standing with no felony convictions, adherence with FBI drug policy, past year analysis and background investigation. Student loan repayments must be in good standing, filed all required annual federal, state, and local taxes. Possess at least a bachelor's degree. Some useful degrees for working with the FBI include international studies, criminology, law enforcement, criminal justice, technology, and computer science. Psychological evaluation. A computerized exam that involves 5 assessments: logic-based reasoning, figurative reasoning, personality assessment, preferences and interests, and situational judgment. Now, here are pretty much the requirements for being a United States Senator, from what I've researched. The Constitution sets 3 qualifications for service in the U.S. Senate: age, at least 30 years, U.S. citizenship, at least 9 years, and residency in the state a senator represents at time of the election. Anyone who's a U.S. citizen and satisfies the state and federal requirements of the office can become a senator in the U.S. A career in law, political science, or business may provide opportunities to work in public service and possibly the chance to participate in an election for the U.S. Senate. Understanding specific requirements for becoming a senator can help you decide whether to pursue a career in the federal government's legislature. Now, I know for a fact from some of our from the midterm elections, some of the candidates, people like Herschel Walker, Mehmet Oz, I don't think they met those requirements. Yeah, the basic ones as far as the age and the citizenship. Residency, yeah, that's a bit of a gray area because supposedly Herschel Walker was from Texas, not Georgia, and Mehmet Oz was from New Jersey, not Pennsylvania. I don't know about Carrie Lake as far as her educational background and stuff like that, but as far as requirements go, yeah, she met them in Arizona, and she pretty much followed the Trump playbook. Be mean to the past, deny the election, not be willing to accept the results. Those aren't listed as qualifications, but it is a moral character that I'm focused on, which is something the Senate doesn't do. Here's the thing, and this isn't on the voters. Why are there not more strict guidelines in becoming a U.S. Senator, let alone President of the United States? Let's take our former president. He was a reality host and a TV personality, and a lot of misinformed, misguided voters just looked at him and said, oh yeah, I'm a big fan of The Apprentice, or he's a billionaire, he can lead. Wealth and celebrity status have nothing to do with governing. Being a business owner, that may help to some degree, but for the most part, it is a world of difference between governing, because it's not a business. You think I would trust somebody like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk as presidents of the United States? Hell no. Yeah, you could say they're successful because of their wealth, because of their job status, but at the same time, they don't know how to govern it. And neither did Donald Trump. And to be fair, in his defense, this is not his fault. He was presented with an opportunity, he went for it, and he won. But he's just a symptom. He's not the cause. This all falls in the hands of Congress. Yeah, the voters eventually have to make the choice, but it's Congress that's putting these people up to it. And looking at the recent midterms, why are we putting up unqualified candidates? Why? Well, because with the example of Herschel Walker, as I believe her name was Dana Loesch, said it the best. Herschel Walker, who does not, other than the basics, doesn't have any of the educational requirements. He doesn't meet any of the experience as far as leading, because evidently those things are overlooked or not even considered. Well, you're a former football star, you want to be a senator? Sure, we'll hire you. Why? Because there's a certain celebrity status that they felt would appeal to voters. In spite of the fact that he had a history of domestic violence, being an abusive husband, and certainly a deadbeat dad, not to mention his dealings with mistresses and getting them pregnant and paying for abortions, which he flat out denies, but he's lied about so many other things. And there was a recent candidate that they discovered after the midterms, I'm blanking on his name right now, he pretty much lied about his entire background, if not a majority of it. Why do we do this? Why does Congress allow, unqualified people in? But as I was getting to Herschel Walker, Dana Loesch said it the best. I don't care about his flaws or anything like that. We want the Senate. But therein lies the problem. Then it's not about qualified candidates, it is a power grab. It is about, we'll put anyone up there from Herschel Walker to Bozo the Clown, to Mehmet Oz, to, the local drunk down the street. If he's a good enough person that the voters like and that'll vote for him, then they're good enough for us. Doesn't care if they're unqualified, doesn't care if they're incompetent, doesn't care if they have certain other issues and don't meet any of the experience requirements that should be in place. We don't have any of that. You don't think a person running for president of the United States should have some kind of background check, some kind of psychological background check to make sure they are stable? I'm not just talking about the former president. I'm talking about across the board. I don't care if it's a Democrat. If the person's not qualified, if the person doesn't have the experience or is potentially unstable, they shouldn't be commander-in-chief of the United States. Because it's not just about running a business. It's not about if you're popular. It's about if you know what the job entails and what to do when certain situations come up. Whether to go to war, how to heal the economy if it's in distress, how to combat inflation. Or, in a worst-case scenario, to more extreme situation, if there's a pandemic. And a president has to be able to listen to advisors and heed their advice and make the best decisions for the American people. It's not just about him and party. He has to be willing to say, I am willing, the needs of the people, the needs of the country are more important than my needs. And if that person can't do that, if he doesn't have the qualifications or the experience or the knowledge, then he's got no business being in the Oval Office. And we've seen, proof as to just how disastrous that can be when we allow this to happen. And that, again, that falls on Congress. So, frankly, I don't know how this problem can be remedied, especially if you have a party or parties that aren't willing to do that aren't willing to do background checks or make sure that there are more qualified candidates. Because to the GOP, if they did do that, I think they would have stood a lot better chance at winning the midterms. But at the same time, you would also have candidates that do care. But when you get a party that's corrupt, and you find corruption in the DNC too, to which case I say, if they put the wrong candidates there, they shouldn't be put into place. They shouldn't be allowed to run. Not for U.S. Senator, not for Congressman, and certainly not for President of the United States. So sadly, that burden falls on us, but we as the people have to be smarter too, because the other takeaway is that a lot of these unqualified candidates, it wasn't a landslide that they lost, okay? There were some pretty tight races. The one in Georgia between Warnock and Walker went into the runoff. Dr. Mehmet Oz was pretty close against Fetterman. You want a rich quack doctor who doesn't know anything about governing, who doesn't have the proper moral compass, and isn't even from the state to, be a senator and represent that state, to say nothing about help passing bills. That guy's not in it for the people. He doesn't care about Pennsylvania, let alone New Jersey. He's only in it for himself. It's like I said before, whether it's Democrat or Republican, what I want is intelligent, smart people running, in charge, that know what they're doing. But more importantly, have a proven track record that they are there to serve the American people. And if not, if there's like felonies, if there's issues in the past, a lot of these crackpots that we have to deal with now could have easily been weeded out prior to. We wouldn't have to be worrying about, well, the midterms, would there be a red wave? There wouldn't have to be a wave because you would have the right candidates, both Democrat and Republican, doing the right thing and working together. And a little less party over country, a little less individual over country. You think crackpots like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert know a lot about governing? They know anything about the Constitution? Do you think they could pass a psychological background test? And here's the thing, the other important thing about the background is you do have some candidates that are bad politicians, that are highly educated, that went to a good school, to an Ivy League school. But guess what? At the same time, it's not just about intelligence, it's about character and having a good moral compass. If these people aren't willing to do the right thing, they need to be voted out, or more importantly, not allowed in to begin with. I can't imagine Congress is going to do anything in the near future to fix this. To set up more guidelines, to do more thorough background checks, to do psychological tests on candidates, drug tests as well. I don't see that happening. I really don't. I wish it would. And that, shame on them for doing that. And shame on the politicians that back some of these bad candidates. The GOP, they went up for Herschel Walker. Basically, they exploited the mentally ill person who was a person of color so they could say, look, we're not racist, so they could avoid the race card. It's a crock. And it shouldn't be allowed. And a disgrace to all those who participated that on the GOP. So in the end, it falls on us voters. And like I said, it doesn't matter to me if it's Democrat or Republican. If there's a Republican in my state that's running and he has a good track record and he's proven to be competent, who doesn't believe in QAnon, who doesn't say racial things, who knows how to work with the people and pass policies that help the working class, that person will get my vote. Or a Democrat for that matter. But we need good candidates. And we need, to try and encourage Congress, to do more thorough background checks on candidates moving forward, especially for presidency of the United States. Otherwise, you're going to get another personality in there, who doesn't care, who doesn't know the job, and the results will be even more disastrous. I say these things because I care about the people. I'm not always here to put, party over country. I'm here to put the needs of the people first and foremost. I want candidates that are smart, that are good, and know the job. That's what I want. And I would imagine a vast majority of the American people want that as well. So, anyway, thank you for watching. I really hope you understand.